And where silence is the price of survival, living testimonials recede into and are preserved in memory. Where textbooks reflect state-imposed amnesia and public memory sullen by instrumental political interests, history seeks the only refuge available, which is in family narratives. We must recall and we must remember. We must write, preserve, and transmit. But when we don't, when we are unable to write or be heard, we become outsiders to our own history, looking in as others reconstruct, interpret, and legitimate their own version and vision of our history. And in such rewriting of history, oppressors often become benefactors, and we are made grateful for our own subjugation. We come to applaud and embrace that very process that erases our own being, and in so doing, become implicated in our own cultural death. But as survivors, can we feel this obligation to honor through remembering? Can we be that temporal bridge when our tongue is swollen with foreignness, our ears deafened to the pain silence in the homes, and our hearts calloused by disregard? What are our roles as Cambodians, as keepers of memories, in our multiple positionalities as displaced individuals and communities, as new citizens, as trans migrants? There is no question that each and every one of us in this room has been working hard in our own little corner, sometimes with colleagues, other times alone, but always as ardent and tireless advocates and proponents of all things that advance the interests of our community. There is no question also that there is a tremendous commitment and desire for service to the community. And there is also no question that there are many, many talented Cambodian Americans, many of you in this room. The challenge in front of us is to seek more talented and committed people, and above all, to channel all that talent and all that commitment into collective action. For that, we need more than talent and commitment. We need structure and we need teamwork, i.e., the willingness and the ability to work together, and a process and a mechanism that would allow us to do so. We can now hope to have a collective voice through the newly formed National Cambodian American Organization, NCAO, recently launched just a mere 2 months ago. Its principal aim is to provide Cambodian Americans with a much-needed platform for collective engagement and voice. And I place in front of you here today an appeal and a challenge. I hope that you will carry that newly presented opportunity into your deliberation today, and to think of ways that this group of extremely talented and committed young Cambodian Americans, our community's best and brightest here in this room, who will be our nation's torchbearers, how you can effectively engage this organization and take it in the direction that it needs to go. Those organizations are ours to create, but it is yours to sustain. But this and any other organization will and can only thrive through effective teamwork. And that means that it rests on our ability to rise above the individual that is each and every one of us. It requires the harvesting of individual strength for collective gains. And it requires that we be more than the sum of our individual parts. And it is one of the most difficult things to achieve. Genocide decimated our nation's best and brightest, the skilled, the talented, the wise, the profound. What we are left with was essentially a stump that had to grow new roots and new branches, and that had to reroot itself on new, alien, and sometimes inhospitable soil. And just like new plants, there is competition for light and nutrients. And as a community, our strength is often diffused by competition for recognition and rewards. The plant that stands tall may or may not be the healthiest, simply the most aggressive. It is often the weeds, as we know, that thrive in any garden. But unlike nature, Social systems are not and should not be about the survival of the fittest. In fact, there's a Khmer saying that the ripest blade of rice is the one that bends to the ground. The one that stands straight and tall is often the one that is hollow. What we need to do is to strive to free ourselves from what I call the crab mentality, crawling over each other to get to the very top. Or that of the frog in the well, looking and seeing the world only through a narrow prism and thinking that we rule the universe. There has to be a new culture and a new sense of values, new set of values that govern our individual and collective being, of mutuality, of cooperation, and above all, of humility. We must deny genocide its enduring power. What it has destroyed, we must deliberately and insistently rebuild. What it has denied, we must reclaim. It is our values, our humanity, our peoplehood. And we must above all remember, history does not instruct, it just informs. And we must heed its message. More than ideology and geopolitics, it was hatred and envy, fear and distrust, arrogance and dogma that killed our people. We must break the cycle, and it must begin here today. If not now, when? If not here, where? And if not you, who? Thank you.